Hello, and welcome to this sensory workshop brought to you by Suffolk Family Carers, the Neurodevelopmental Differences Project. What is sensory processing disorder? Well, it's a condition in which the brain has difficulties receiving and responding to the information that comes through our senses. It is said that between 5 and 16% of the population has this, but as it's rarely tested for, the actual percentage is likely to be a lot higher. What are the different types of sensory differences? Well, you can be oversensitive, undersensitive, or sensory seeking. Oversensitive is sometimes described as hypersensitivity. It's when a child may hate having their hair brushed. They could hate the feeling of it on their skin. Undersensitive may be that you can brush their hair all the time without them even realizing that you're doing it. Or sensory seeking could be they bring you the brush all the time because they love to have that sensation of having their hair brushed. So it's over, under, or sensory seeking. What are the different senses? Well, most people know about the five senses: taste, hearing, touch, sight, and smell. But there's also three more: proprioception, vestibular, and interoception. We'll look at these a bit later on. Let's start with taste. Taste receptors in our mouth are highly sensitive. Children may avoid certain foods or textures, or on the other hand, they might want to put everything into their mouth. For example, a child who puts in anything in their mouth, food or even not food, that avoids it, or a child that wants to put everything in their mouth, toys, paper, clothes. What can we do to help this? Well, if a child doesn't like things in their mouth, you can use food as a toy. Play with jelly and spaghetti, mashed potato. You can put toys inside. Make sure you play alongside your child, licking your fingers and say how lovely it tastes. But never ever put any pressure on the child to do the same. If they smell even a tiny little bit, give them lots of praise. If they like putting lots of things in their mouth, things that they shouldn't, offer things like teething rings or crunchy apples, ice lollies. There's also lots of different toys that you can buy online now called chewy toys that is acceptable to put in a child's mouth. Please, please be aware though of any choking hazards. Never ever leave a child unattended. Smell. Sensory cells in our nose pick up even the subtle changes of smell. It could make a child feel sick with different smells, or, on the other hand, they could seek certain smells. What can you do to help this? Think about the projects you use to wash your clothes. Strong perfumes, aftershaves. Be aware when you're out of the home. Consider the impact of the smells from different petrol stations, walking past fish and chip shops, or fragrance shops. We all know that Lush shop that we in town, as you walk past, some people love it, some people hate it. If a child loves a certain smell, you can see if you can find that smell in like a hand cream that they could put on themselves and carry around with them. Or there's lots of different wax melts now that you can have. What smell would your child like? So if they're around a smell that they don't like, they've got a smell that they could smell to help counterbalance this. You could also make Play-Doh and put different types of oils inside. You can get different sprays. If a child loves your perfume smell, spray it on a little handkerchief that they can carry around with them. Please be aware, though, of any potential allergies and asthma being brought on by some of these smells. Let's move on to hearing. The ears detect vibrations and our brain translates those into sounds. Children often respond to loud noises or background noises that we may not actually hear. For example, a child that covers their ears in the school playgrounds or in assembly. A child that seeks out noisy toys or loud instruments like drums. What can we do to help? Cover their ears or use ear defenders or headphones to play music that they enjoy. Purchase noise reducing earplugs. Consider the environment. Turn off noises and devices that may have sounds that you might not need. Example, turn the television off if not needed. For a child that doesn't hear, make sure that you get down to their level, tap them gently on the shoulder, and give them plenty of eye contact. Make sure that they can see your mouth. Some children will want constant background noises, like white noise, such as a fan on in their room or a radio on low. Touch. A sense of touch is controlled by a huge network of nerve endings and touch receptors in the skin. This system is responsible for all the sensations we feel: cold, hot, smooth, rough, pressure, tickle, itch, pain, vibrations, and so many more. For example, a child who seeks out water play because they love that sensation, or a child who rips labels out of clothes and takes off socks because they are feeling uncomfortable. What can you do to help? Children may or may not like to be touched. Ask permission first. For some children, the slightest touch can actually hurt them. Be aware. Cut labels out of clothing. Think how clothes are washed and the materials that they're actually made of. Children who like touch may want to be wrapped up in a blanket for deep pressure, or they might like to wear a weighted rucksack. Put a hairband around their wrist so they can feel it ping when they need to feel that sensory input. We're moving on to vision now. The eyes can take in light, colour, shape, and process this information in the brain to the images that we see. For example, a child who finds the sun or bright lights at a party that can give them a headache. A child who seeks out bright sensory lights and computer games. What can you do? Be aware of the environment that you're creating. Think about the wall displays in their bedroom and also the school wall displays. Outside the home, think about how overwhelming some settings could be, like the shopping centre and cinema. There's so much to look at. Offer sunglasses, wear a hoodie to cover their head, baseball hats to block out the sun and the environment, visual timetables, now and next boards, dark dens, lava lamps, glow sticks, torches instead of the main lights, and soft lighting around your home. We're now moving on to proprioception. Proprioception system receptors are located in our muscles, joints, and ligaments, and even within our skin and bones. This sense helps us to coordinate our movements so we can walk, run, hop, skip, and do obstacles, kick objects with precision. Why don't you try balancing on one leg and then close your eyes? You will feel the pull of this you're feeling is in your ankle. That's your proprioception kicking in to keep your ankle joints straight. The two different examples here are a child who loves jumping off the sofas and climbing, or a child that may struggle in PE due to poor coordination. What can you do to help? You can encourage this sense by doing lots of different activities that strengthen the muscles. For example, climbing, throwing and catching a weighted ball, crawling, wheelbarrow walks, monkey bars, and wall pushes. Vestibular. This sense tells us where our head is in space and it keeps our eyes straight. It also helps our bodies working so we can use a knife and fork. For example, a child who is travel sick, who does not want to travel in a car, or a child who is constantly spinning and dancing. What can you do to help? Some children love amusement park rides and spinning on roundabouts. Others really hate it. You need to adapt to their needs. Try activities like jumping on a trampoline, spinning on an office chair, bouncing on an exercise ball, or standing on a balance ball. Also, you can do some log rolls. We're now going to move on to interoception. Interoception is a sensory system that provides information about the internal condition of our body, how our body is feeling on the inside. Interoception gives us the body sensation like a growling stomach, dry mouth, tense muscles, our heart racing. Awareness of these body sensations help us to experience much needed emotions, such as hunger, fullness, thirst, pain, our body temperature, the need for the bathroom, relaxation, anxiety, sadness, frustration, and safety. For example, a child who never seems to be full and never seems to be hungry. A child who struggles to manage their bladder control. What can you do to help? We need to help children to be in tune with their bodies. Try yoga, mindfulness sessions, breathing exercises, and calming music. For further information, you can always discuss with your doctor, who may refer you to an occupational therapist. Here are also some different links that you can use that have got lots of more information about sensory. The main thing is to try and find out what your child needs and how you can support your child with this sensory issues. Thank you for listening to this sensory workshop.